Have you ever wondered what a modern war looks like? Forget tanks and trenches for a moment. Think tweets, taxes, and territory. Today, we're diving deep into the escalating tensions between the United States and Europe. Is this just political posturing, or are we on the brink of a full-blown economic war? Let's start with the basics: tariffs. A tariff is just a tax on imported goods. For decades, the global trend was to lower them, making it cheaper for countries to trade with each other. This was the foundation of organizations like the World Trade Organization. The idea was simple: more trade means more prosperity for everyone. But recently, that philosophy has been turned on its head. The U.S. administration has taken a much more aggressive stance, using tariffs as a primary tool of foreign policy. It began with steel and aluminum. Citing national security concerns, the U.S. imposed heavy tariffs on these metals, affecting many countries, including its closest European allies. The European Union didn't take this lying down. They retaliated with their own tariffs on iconic American products, think motorcycles, bourbon, and jeans. This was a classic tit-for-tat trade skirmish, but it set a new, confrontational tone. From there, the battleground expanded. The next big fight was over airplanes. For years, the U.S. and the EU have been in a dispute at the World Trade Organization, accusing each other of unfairly subsidizing their respective aviation giants, Boeing and Airbus. After a ruling in its favor, the U.S. slapped tariffs on billions of dollars worth of European goods, from French wine and Italian cheese to Scotch whiskey. The EU, in turn, was authorized to do the same to American products. Suddenly, your favorite bottle of Bordeaux or that block of Parmesan got more expensive, and it wasn't because of a bad harvest. It was geopolitics at the dinner table. Then came the threats against the auto industry. The U.S. has repeatedly threatened to impose tariffs of up to 25% on European cars and auto parts. This would be a massive escalation. Think about it: the European auto industry is a cornerstone of economies like Germany. Brands like Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes are global powerhouses. A 25% tariff would be a devastating blow, potentially costing billions and threatening hundreds of thousands of jobs. For Germany, whose economy is heavily export-driven, this is an existential threat. The EU has made it clear that if the U.S. pulls this trigger, their response will be swift and severe, targeting major sectors of the American economy. But it's not just about tariffs on physical goods. The conflict is also moving into the digital realm. The U.S. is home to the world's biggest tech companies: Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple. Many European countries, led by France, argue that these digital giants don't pay their fair share of taxes in the countries where they make their money. They've proposed a digital services tax that would target the revenues of these large tech firms. The U.S. government sees this as a discriminatory attack on American companies and has threatened retaliatory tariffs on French luxury goods like champagne and handbags. This opens a whole new front in the economic conflict, a battle over the future of the digital economy and who gets to tax it. Now, let us talk about something that seemed to come straight out of a history book: the proposal to buy Greenland. When reports first surfaced that the U.S. president was interested in purchasing Greenland from Denmark, many people thought it was a joke. But it wasn't. Greenland is a massive island, rich in natural resources and, most importantly, strategically located in the Arctic. As climate change opens up new shipping lanes and access to resources in the Arctic, the region's geopolitical importance is skyrocketing. Russia and China are both increasing their presence there, and the U.S. wants to secure its own foothold. Denmark, which Greenland is an autonomous territory of, dismissed the idea outright. The Danish Prime Minister called the suggestion absurd. The diplomatic fallout was immediate. A planned state visit to Denmark was cancelled, and sharp words were exchanged. While the idea of buying a country seems bizarre, it highlights the new American approach: transactional, direct, and willing to break with traditional diplomatic norms. It showed that even territory and national sovereignty could be viewed through a business lens, which was unsettling for many long-standing allies in Europe. It wasn't a trade dispute, but it added to the growing sense of unease and unpredictability in the transatlantic relationship. So, what does all this mean? Are we actually in an economic war? Some analysts would say yes. They argue that the use of tariffs as a weapon, the threats against major industries, and the breakdown of diplomatic norms all point to a fundamental shift. The old post-World War II alliance, built on shared values and mutual trust, is being replaced by a more competitive, America-first dynamic. In this view, Europe is no longer just an ally, it's also a competitor to be managed and, if necessary, pressured. Others are more cautious. They'd say this is a period of serious friction, but not yet an all-out war. They point out that the US and EU still have the largest economic relationship in the world. Trillions of dollars in goods and services cross the Atlantic each year. Our economies are deeply intertwined. A full-scale economic war would be mutually destructive, causing a global recession that would harm everyone. They argue that what we're seeing is a tough negotiation, a high-stakes game of chicken where both sides are trying to get a better deal. The fiery rhetoric and tariff threats are just bargaining tactics. But even if it's not a full-blown war, the damage is real. The uncertainty is bad for business. Companies don't know whether to invest, build new factories, or hire new workers if a single tweet could slap a 25% tax on their products overnight. This uncertainty acts like a brake on the global economy. Furthermore, it erodes trust. For decades, Europe looked to the United States for leadership and stability. Now, many in Europe feel they can no longer rely on their American partner. This is pushing the EU to become more independent, to build up its own capabilities, and to forge alliances with other powers. We're seeing a realignment of the global order. The US is challenging the very system it helped create. Europe is being forced to find its own way in a more chaotic world. The conflict isn't just about cars or cheese, it's about two different visions for the future. One is a world of nation-states competing for advantage, where might makes right. The other is a world of multilateral cooperation, governed by rules and institutions. The outcome is far from certain. The tensions could de-escalate, new leaders could come to power, new deals could be struck, and the transatlantic alliance could be repaired, or the friction could continue to grow, leading to more tariffs, more retaliation, and a deeper fracturing of the West. This would have profound consequences not just for our economies, but for global security and our ability to tackle shared challenges like climate change, pandemics, and nuclear proliferation. So, the next time you hear about a new tariff on European wine or a threat against German cars, remember it's not just a business story. It's a chapter in a much larger story about the changing relationship between America and Europe, and the struggle to define the rules of the 21st century. We are living through a pivotal moment in history, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to understand more about the forces shaping our world, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video.